Welcome to this week's edition of the Bro Show Live number 20. I'm Skilbo and the panel is all together and we are glad to see y'all tonight. I want to kick it over to my co-host Sequence. How's it going, everybody?
What's up, panel? I was already unmuted. That's unusual. What's up, panel? What's up, chat? Very excited to be here again. Got a new picture of my plant. I always point the wrong direction. This is Citro Glue 6 behind my head. Very excited to be growing that.
The biggest plant I've ever seen.
It's as big as my head, bro. Man, I'm off track now. Today's the first day of Michigan Rec, so congrats to everyone. I'm curious if anybody in the chat actually went and braved that and bought any expensive cannabis. Excited to talk about that today. How you doing, guys? Let's go around the horn really quick. Abolished, you're first. You're right next to me, so give us a quick introduction.
Abolished Farms. You guys can find me on IG, YouTube, Cannabis, wherever you find Michigan Bro Girls Productions. I've been a pretty good week. Probably talk about it a little bit more later on in the show, but pretty excited. Even though the prices are ridiculously high, it's cool that people that didn't have a safe connection can go and grab it now. But yeah, the $25 a gram that I'm seeing reports of are a little ridiculous. $180 to get recreational fun is insane. That's not going to last you.
$24 a gram. Let's not exaggerate. That's what I saw today.
Yeah, guys, that's pre-tax too. So yeah, you're looking about 150 to what, 180 a quarter.
Yeah,
I would expect it to go down. The reason I say that is because looking at the rec side of things, I see that it would be cheaper to run an operation, an equivalent or bigger operation with the rec rules. So when those guys, when they get permitted and they can start grows and maybe hack down and grow in 3 months or 4 months from now, they'll be able to supply the market with a lower cost, and hopefully that'll get to the end consumer that way. But I guess if demand is 300 people in a line long, there's no real reason.
Yeah. I agree.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but a lot of the interviews that like news channels did and stuff were people out of state. Like that's the reason why it's.
I do want to talk about that when we get into it. So let's talk about that when we get it. Let's go around the horn real quick. Spartan, you're next. You're just talking. We gotta get through introductions so we can talk about this stuff.
Oh, I'm Spartan Growing on Instagram, or you can catch me at work at Mint Can Co.
Thanks, Spartan. Old man, are you good?
I'm super good.
You look like you're sorting a library up over there.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you'd be able to really see it, but this is my.
You say that a lot.
Oh, that's not gonna work. Anyway, fuck that. But it's amazing. Super happy with it. My outdoor garlic cane #1. Insanely frosty, GMO and slur cane. Still really happy with that. So otherwise, I've been up potting plants and doing all sorts of new cool stuff. So I don't know, man. I'm looking forward to being here, talking about rec and seeing what's going on with you guys, seeing what's going on with everybody in chat.
I'm excited to be growing that plant, your garlic cane #1. So thank you again for that. And thanks for being here, old man.
Thank you.
Red Setter, you're up.
How's everybody doing tonight? Red Setter Farm here. You can find me on Instagram. Also, just released my first YouTube video, kind of a little, hey, how's it going? And a little walkthrough of the build of my current project and my current grow space. So I appreciate everybody who has checked it out. And it's wonderful to be here tonight, everybody. And welcome aboard Michigan as far as recreational sales go. Sweet.
Red, don't undersell that video, brother. That is really, really in-depth, and it's a really, really nice build out. Go check that, guys.
I appreciate your support, Skilbo. Thank you very much, everybody.
McMahon Dan in the chat says, nice to see all the OG Growskis. Kate's not here yet, but she said she will be. She's running a little bit late. Eagle, you're up, my friend.
You can find me mainly on Instagram and YouTube, with the addition of Snapchat this week to top the list off of many places you can find me. Other than that, happy to be here, discuss the recreation and everything else we want to talk about. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I can't wait to snap you, Eagle.
Yeah, I'm going to make a Snapchat just so I can send them some.
Holy shit. All right. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about was the rec cannabis thing. It's a really big deal. Rec cannabis happened today. Sales opened, and hilariously to me, the guy that was the first guy in line and in all the papers is from Ohio. And his name is in all of our papers. So he's buying all of his rec cannabis and going back to Ohio, committing a felony.
And
federal
OSG is
crime.
definitely on that for sure. Ohio State, man.
Holy
you
shit.
know those patrol boys play on 75, folks.
The most badass thing about that story is, what was his last name?
I can't remember.
It was fucking Savage.
Nice.
Ooh, yeah. Snap it to a Slim Jim.
So I wanted to note that if you do anything like this, if you come up here for tourism purposes and you go back to your home state, take all of the labels off of all your jars so you don't know where they came from. If you get busted in a rec state, it's really shitty. But if you get busted in a rec state with stuff from here, it's way worse. So I'm not a lawyer, but that's what I would say on that. Thoughts?
So were they able to meet the maximum THC limits? What was it, like 16 for the rec market?
I'm not sure if they had limits. I didn't see anything like that. They just had the flowers listed, so I didn't get to see any THC limits on them.
When they announced it, they said that there was going to be a limit on how high it could be for the rec.
I haven't seen that.
They had purchasing limits at some of the provisioning centers. I saw that on the menu.
So you could buy up to 7 grams of flour at one place, and their price for a quarter was $130.
Ay, caramba.
It's a good place to know, or a good time to know a guy in Michigan that is a grower, I guess.
It's got to be that top shelf from dispensary, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is.
There
Yeah,
was
at that price, you shouldn't be able to reach it.
That was the thing. There was no show.
Good point.
There's this is what we got. What you wanted or do not want it. That's basically what it was.
They got like a handful of grape nuts holding out to you.
It should be so high you can't reach it. I love that quote.
It's going on the list, man.
That's the genius. If you only have one shelf, it's all top shelf.
That's a good point. The one place that I go to has only got 2 shelves. So how do you really know?
Well, one's higher than the other one, right?
Yeah. That one is more expensive, but just 2 shelves though. It's, you used to have several grades to this.
Just bottom and top there, man.
I think that's part of the problem though. You go into a dispensary and they have 6 different kinds of flour. If they split it up too much, then you really lose your selection.
It seemed like they had a decent amount of variety on their menu. What they have, about 8 to 10 strains, it looked like, for flour, and they probably had maybe twice that for concentrates.
Okay, yeah, but how many pounds do you think they went through in one day? Let's say that they started with 8 strains. Do you think that they had 80 pounds of this, or you know what I mean, 65 pounds of that?
Yeah, I wonder I didn't do the math on it, but if everybody got a quarter out of their supposed 300 or 500 people they had in line, it's a significant amount for sure.
Well, since there's no rec growers yet, the only way they had rec to rec product to sell at all would be they had to do that transfer from the medical side, and the most they can transfer in one facility is half of their inventory. So they could have half of what their inventory was. I'm sure they want to max that out as much as possible. I would want to be as close to that half mark as I could. So it could be a decent amount.
Why wouldn't you switch over at $25 a gram or $24 a gram? Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You got a line of 300 people to pay those prices. So, I mean, as long as there's a demand, I don't see them dropping those prices.
So how long before we're bone dry?
I didn't realize we weren't bone dry.
Yeah, I thought it was going to happen this afternoon.
I'm just going to say right now, when we have a harvest and the boss gets on the phone and has to sell X amount of pounds, whatever it is, on 1,000 plant grow up, he's usually back within 60 seconds. There's not a lot of bickering on price. It just goes.
What are you letting it go?
Well, and that's
for?
what I was speaking for in the varieties, like on my experience. Like, sure, we saw 8 or 10 strains on that list, but if you go to several dispensaries, you see like 3 or 4. Especially the last couple of months, it's been really, really dry in certain places. So I'm curious what happens going forward.
Yeah, I got a feeling that list is going to be down to just a couple, maybe 3 or 4 strains shortly, maybe the next couple days, if not already.
But I think, I don't want to seem all doom and gloom. I think as soon as these rec grows get up and going, they're going to be able to start supplying the market, and then 100% of a grow could go to supply a place. So it's going to catch up. It's just at the beginning, it's going to be scarce, I think. And it's going to be for, until they get those first harvests out.
Your boy, Roy Boy, in the chat says it's been rec in mass going on 11 months and prices haven't budged. Keep that in mind.
I was getting ready to shout out that comment, so thank you there.
Teamwork makes the dream work, baby.
I was surprised. I stopped in to a dispensary in Bay City yesterday, and they actually had a nice selection. I'd say close to 18 strains on the shelf.
Oh, that's very good, yeah.
And Insane in the Membrane was on the top shelf strain. They're like, you want some of this? I'm like, I got some of that growing, but let me see it. I want to look at it.
Yeah, you want to get that nose on it.
I like to buy stuff that I'm growing to see what it's going to be like, maybe. And
Absolutely.
then something else I wanted to note is I get a lot of shade for growing a bunch of ethos plants, but I always see them in the dispo on the higher shelf, so it might be decent stuff. I don't know.
I always try to do that when you get some seeds, you get a seed pack, you don't get a chance to meet the breeders, so you have no idea what maybe the keeper is supposed to smell like or something, or what it's supposed to structurally look like, and you just kind of hope at the dispensary that whoever grew it like had that keeper phenotype, so you can kind of judge your keeper off of that.
Well, back in the day, think about it. I mean, you would score let's say you got a small amount off of one of your dudes, say some fire blueberry or something like that, and it came through like, oh my God, man, I hope that I have a seed in this bud so I can grow this out. I mean, I remember those days. I know I'm not the only person, man.
I probably have a few of those laying around because I wanted to keep them so bad.
Still debate it when I find a seed in a bomb ass bud. Yeah, I'm gonna put that away for later.
Oh, I always say
Like
see,
something or what is structural.
Hello, Canna Kate. I had to welcome you since Sequence over there dabbing and coughing at the same time.
I didn't cough. I wooed. I dabbed this GMO, the Fergoli. And I did a dab and I was like, woo, because it is good shit.
That's it. Get back at
Shout
me,
out to
bro.
Fergoli. I got to take another hit of this because it stays hot for a long time. Welcome, Kate.
Spartan, what are you smoking on?
I just finished Snow Cane, which blew me out, and I also ate a Spartan cookie about a half hour ago, so that should be kicking any time now. And this was the very last of my outdoor primal punch. That's what I'm smoking on right now. But I had a high thought I wanted to share. I was thinking how crazy these prices were. It's insane that somebody would pay $25 a gram. And then I got thinking to myself, would you pay half that? I'm like, well, yeah, I might pay $12 a gram if I thought it was some nice dank weed. Well, most people probably have half our tolerance. So to them, maybe a gram will last them more than a night. You know what I mean? Maybe it might last them a week. So $12 a week, that's not really that bad of a habit. We're all thinking in our mind, fuck, 25 a gram, we'd go broke. But we have to remember that not everybody's that way. And, I think the masses are more on that spectrum than they are maybe on our spectrum. So
I like to think about the masses a lot because I don't know if you hang out with a lot of people that don't grow. I don't really anymore, but I used to. And if you ever have them roll a joint and then have you roll a joint, there's a big difference, right? And it's like, I didn't even know you could make them this size, or
like Capris or Virginia Slims.
Well, like the bud tastes a lot different when it's half paper. It's weird shit, and There's a lot I didn't know about the lower tolerance into the game just through growing, because we're fortunate. Like even Red grows flow, he grows blueberry, old school strains that test at like 15, 16, 17%. But when you grow, you can just smoke more of them if you want to. And that's really the ticket. You get what you want.
Sometimes the
add to
terps are
that.
so good you don't need to.
I would add to that, if
Yeah.
you're trying to be thrifty, that you can look into trying to get some kind of vaporizer or something. It's also maybe a little bit healthier. But if you get like a 7th floor vape that's a Silver Surfer, you can use, like 0.2 of a gram and get a whip out of it. Or, so you don't have to, now is not the time on these prices to be some kind of bougie blunt smoker. It's just expensive as shit, man. Looking at you, Abolished.
And then on another note is Abolished to give you shit if you start becoming a vapor. So you lose both ways.
Different terps, different taste for sure, man.
Does anyone have anything cool going on in their garden right now? I just transplanted a bunch of plants into bigger pots. That's not that interesting.
I actually had something come up. My recent history with reg seeds, right, which has been just mail after mail after mail after mail. So I'd popped a couple Jet A from Exotic Genetics. It's an older, I think it's from the Tina lineup. I can't remember. Anyway, it's a while ago. It was my first major seed purchase. I spent like $250 on them. You know what I mean? I've been scared to pop them because I'm not actually that great of a grower, believe it or not. So, I've been worried, and I always worry about good seeds because I have a tendency to fuck them up. Anyway, I popped these seeds. They got big enough to throw into my flower room to sex them. And boom, both balls, right? And I was like, good. But one of them, I actually saw there was a pistol up top, right? And I'm like, wow, that's weird, but clear dangly balls, And then there was a couple pistols up top. Clipped all those balls, just left it in my flower room, and it's budding, no more balls, like a real, hermaphroditic transfer. You know what I mean? It was cool.
The Tina plants were known for having some herm traits, so I would monitor them pretty closely.
Right.
But they did win cups and stuff.
Totally. I don't know. It was the first legit seed purchase I ever made. That's how in love with it I was, at least by researching it a little bit and stuff. And also like bag seed, right? We were talking about bag seed earlier. I found in a dispensary bud of Miami Heat one seed, and I grew that shit, and it was femmed, and best plant I'd grown. For my first couple years growing was just out of some bag seed from a dispensary. So don't discount them. They're awesome.
Well, to piggyback off of that, you and I were talking outside of the show about your outdoor. And I was like, man, I hope to find another seed of that, man, and to be able to run it because it's just really, really good medicine.
Totally. And, there's, outside pollination, I didn't have any bananas or balls on any of my stuff. So who knows what it was pollinated with. I did pop a couple, though, from this summer's outdoor grow. So at least I'm going to check them out and see what they're crossed with. It might be interesting. Might be crap. I don't know. We'll see.
With all that space you have in your flower room, like extra space, off to the side of your lights and shit, I'd be growing all kinds of weird shit. I'd be pheno hunting and sexing all my regular seeds and all that stuff while I had the room.
I'm working on it.
Eventually, you're gonna build that out, and then you won't have that room anymore. And you're gonna be like, shit.
There's my. I'm just in awe every time I go over there. I'm just like, oh, there's room. I'm not banging my head on things. This is so great.
Yeah, very with my feelings though comes, heat issues. It's more expensive for me to heat that area with tall ceilings. I have fans mounted way up on the walls facing down, to blow the heat down. I have to work a lot of under canopy air and stuff I don't know, I suppose like everybody does, but taller ceilings are a little bit more complicated to handle environmentally. Managing your humidity in a room that big or that tall is a little different too. I'd only grown really in my basement prior to my shop, so it's been a really new experience. It's been pretty cool, actually. I'm super fortunate to have the lung rooms associated with my flower room in my veg tent, so I can really regulate that a little bit, and it's way easier to manage a big room while it's also in a lung room. So
dude, old man, I think that you should get some strains that are like big growers, like how everybody's like, you can't do GMO in a basement. You know what I mean? Like, you have such an advantage in your space if you want to take advantage of it or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you can just get some stretchy bitches. Like, I have
Some
like a
12
GMO,
footers.
I have a GMO times sour dub in my space right now, and like, if that's a female, I want to give you a cut of it and see what it bushes up to in there, because I think it's gonna be a beast, and I like the growth on it.
My main cut, is a garlicane, so it's GMO and slurricane mix. So it's leggy, you know what I mean? It stretches, and they're pretty goofy. I've wrangled one down now. This time I actually put a scrog net in there, and I had been kind of growing more towards just taller plants to take advantage of that. And I've done a mix of both this round. And what I'm finding is that obviously the less I'm training them down and scrogging them out, they actually bud faster. And, I'm going to get a little bit less, but I think they're going to finish quicker, which is kind of sweet. So, I mean, I'm doing some experiments like that and just kind of testing my room and kind of some variables and seeing how things are going to react. It's cool. It's like my whole own scientific laboratory of goofiness out there. That's just chaos, but I'm figuring it out little by little.
Can't wait to see the 2020 Mendocino genetics you have, like the glue sniffer and what they do, because there's such a, they seem to be so beast, so I can't imagine what they're going to do in that space if they can really do their thing,
Right. The glue sniffer, actually, I got my clones took, so that's cool. So I have some clones going. That male, I don't know, in typical fashion, I had moved into the house, and it got a little hot in a room with a fireplace, and it kind of got a little fucked up. So it's kind of reworking itself right now. It's looking okay. It's getting better, but so that male of the glue sniffer, it's gonna work itself back, and I'll get some pollen out of it. But we had a hiccup there. My Grand Champagnes are all looking pretty good. They're a little shorter, and they're a little shorter and bushier, which is kind of cool. Maybe I should have vegged them a little bit longer. I thought they'd stretch a little bit more, but they didn't. The frost on the glue sniffer is out of control. It's cool. I'm super into it. I'm really hoping that the flower time on those is what we think it is, which is shorter. It's like 55, 60 instead of 60, 65, 70 or whatever. So I'm looking forward to a shorter harvest time. That's all I got going with those guys, but super into them.
How's the blue cough? How's that going for you? Is it taking off for you yet?
Absolutely. I just I up potted it a couple days ago. It's already taken off. I took 3 clones off it today, so I'm hoping those will root up. I have mixed success, I guess, because I'm a chaos grower. So
I've had pretty good luck with those. They seem to clone pretty easy, so I hope you have good luck with those.
it's a vigorous plant. It seems really healthy and happy. Super into it. The sour melon as well is doing real good. I just up potted that one as well this week, and I had some time off, with Thanksgiving and stuff, so I got a lot of extra work done. I even went to the grocery store today and bought some extra stuff, planning future stuff, so
It's nice when you feel inspired to go into the grocery store and get shit done. Like, sometimes Kate goes 3 times in a day.
Just because I forget shit, or a lot of stuff I'll do like impulsively. Like the last time I went in there, I was like, I had a plan to go with 7-gallon pots. So I bought a bunch of 7-gallon pots. And then I was like, I don't know, but like as I was leaving. And so then I was like, I sent a bunch of people, I asked like 5 people questions and was like, oh, okay, now I feel more comfortable with like my other, and then went back and swapped them out for 5-gallon ones. So like it's stupid shit like that. I like question myself, or I forget stuff, or like I prefer one grow store, but they don't carry nectar. So I have to go to another one that I don't like to get shit. So whatever.
That's
I also
what I was gonna say. That's the most annoying thing to me. There's 3 grow stores near me, and I have to go to each one of them because nobody can carry all the same shit.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and so this week I also up-potted Abolish OG, and then the 9-pound hammer that I got from Sequence, sour melon that I got from Sequence. And Abolish Your OG is so happy now in that bigger pot, and like she's like not yellow at all anymore, and like just a much happier plant. So, but I told everybody in the group chat, and I'll say it on here, I was like playing Abolish videos and shit in there because I was like, maybe she like misses him and she's like lonely because she was like so pissed looking for like a week, but now she's happy again. So that's pretty cool.
Carlos, are you there?
Hey, it's Adam. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. So this is Adam from 2020 Mendocino, 2020 Genetics. What's up, Adam?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Welcome back.
What's up, Adam?
Not much. Right on. Thanks for inviting me.
Spartan was already talking about the snow cane a little bit, and we were talking about the 2020 Genetics the old man's running in his garden as well. And actually, I got a cut of the snow cane from Spartan now, so I'm growing it as well.
Yep, and that's outperforming all my clones on this most recent run by a lot. It's a little silly. I can already get 3-4 clones off it compared to the other cuts Spartan gave me.
Yeah, right on. Cool. So yeah, we've been like, teasing the lineage now forever, and there isn't really any good reason to keep hiding it from you guys. So I suppose I can. Carlos was like, "Why don't you just release the lineage tonight?" So yeah, I'll let you guys know right now. How does that sound?
Drum roll.
Yeah, it's really exciting for us.
So the lineage is it's sour snow. Any guesses? I mean, I'm sorry.
Slurricane was our guess for sure. I think.
That's a good guess. The only difference is it's spelled different. So we're CAINE. You know, like the hard drug. So, anyways, it's actually mimosa.
Sour snow and mimosa.
Yeah, it's mimosa. So,
that's funny because it makes sense to me as far as how the high goes, because I was just saying in the podcast before this that I was smoking the snow cane, actually the number 6, the one I'm going to enter. And I said, I call this the one that gets me high as fuck and happy as fuck. It must be that influence of the mimosa that gives me that more uplifting, like happy.
Yeah. So when we first, we grew mimosa for like a good 7 months for the rec market, and we really fell in love with growing it. Now, a lot of connoisseur smokers, like a lot of guys, if they're not sativa guys, it's, it's definitely an uppity, it's not a couch lock. It's got the nice fruity terps, and it's an absolute joy to grow. And it's really resistant. It just grows fast and big yields, at least the cut we have. And so we decided, we crossed it with a few things. And when we first crossed it with the sour snow, we're like, yeah, this will be a killer outdoor strain, because the sour snow just kills it. It's like our best outdoor strain. So we basically just kind of made those seeds really for us. And then we ended up with like 1,000 seeds or something. And we're like, well, and then we kind of came up with the idea for the contest all at the same time. And we're like, let's just put these seeds in. So we didn't really make them for the pheno hunt. They just ended up being kind of at the right place at the right time, and so we put them in there. And I personally am the only person that grew them besides you guys. And I didn't want to like pass them out to anybody. So I grew, we grew a little hunt like indoors, and then I grew one outdoors at my house. And I live on the coast, and it really killed it, man. It got really big. And so it kind of lived up to our expectations for the outdoor. But I noticed there's a lot of pheno, a lot of definitely the variance between the like fruity, citrusy, fruity as in like like the berry fruit, and then I saw some citrusy ones, and then I saw the more like danky stanky sour snow. So it was kind of cool that there was a good variance in there.
All three of those sound amazing though, as
Yes.
far as whichever pheno you pull out of that, they all sound good to me.
Spartan was saying he got a lot of berries out of his, right?
Yeah, I hunted through nine of them, and they all had like a similar flavor or terp profile that I kind of just called like I had to describe because they were a little bit different. They're either on, I just said they're either in the skunky end, which would be like your danky end, what you're saying.
Yeah.
Or they're on the berry. I would like a sweet or berry kind of flavor. And then I would have everything in between. Like it was almost like a half and half mix, or it was a little heavy on the dank, or
yeah.
I had some that was like no sweetness or berries to it at all, and it was just straight dank. And
yeah.
And so there's really interesting ones. And then there were some that were like, I'm actually entering two, the number 6 pheno and the number 5 pheno. And the number 6 pheno is really flavorful, and it's more on the sweeter end, more of the berry flavor. But the other one, the number 5, has what I would say just nothing that stands out on flavor. It's just it's a good flavor, but it's so close to the other one. The other one stands out because it leans more berry. But the number 5, it's just the potency is just unreal. I mean, everyone that smokes it picks that one out of all of them. Like, that one wrecked me. So
every time, yeah, that's the sour snow coming out. That's how the sour snow is. I mean, not only does it test in the high 20s, like nearly no matter who grows it, where and how and what, but it also like it wrecks you. So I mean, it's definitely probably a combination of whatever terpenes are in there, and it's always potent, and it's a joy to grow too. And so we kind of assumed whatever was going to come out of that cross probably was going to dominate the garden in most cases for just yield and just overall good growing capabilities, both indoor and outdoor. So I'm excited to kind of get it out there. So we don't have a lot of seeds of it. We are planning on using the pheno hunt winners, and I say winners because I'd like to keep a few, hopefully, and we want to just basically have 2 of them, but probably reverse one onto the other, which is kind of our strategy in general. We like to take our favorite couple as opposed to just like selfing the best one. So yeah, it's going to be fun. So we'll definitely get those seeds on, for sure. Everybody's going to get those seeds. That was part of it. And, we wanted to make it a collaboration more than a contest. Of course, there's some prizes in the end, but it's really, we did it more to, get the community together and collaborate on this and get some really good shit out there. So.
Well, I just want to shout out and thank you and your whole team, because I just think it's great, because everybody has a win in it. There's a profit for everybody. Whoever wins, it doesn't matter, because even if you don't win or walk out with anything, you're walking out with the winning cut. So
right.
I mean, so there's no real loser in it. That's what I love about it. It's like whoever figured that out, that was genius, because that just, everybody's going to be walking out happy with a smile on their face, and there's going to be no bitterness or anything like that, because everybody's a winner. So
right.
But there's enough too for the nerds though, like the nerds that want to do that 9-pack sift. You know what I mean? Like that could have been the best part for me, man. I just love popping packs, man. I want to see which way we can get this thing to go. And now, having grown it out, you can be like, yeah, man, see, this totally makes sense. Like you guys really did this well, and I'm looking forward to the next thing that you guys decide to do.
Well, that brings up a good point. So I was going to ask you guys, because this is no better place than to bring this up. So we're definitely, talking about doing it again, and almost certainly it's going to be in Michigan, partly because we've built, we built it up there a little bit already, and we've got some folks. So I mean, are you guys still interested in doing it? And
Absolutely.
B is the big question for me is, should we continue it with a FIM again, or should we do regular seeds? Because we got a lot of blowback from the anti-FIM people, which we're certainly not anti-FIM, but there is people there. But our point behind it was that we wanted it to be fair, and I didn't want someone to end up with 3/4 males, which, as we all know, can happen. And then they'd be complaining like, oh, I only got 5 males. Now turns out everybody that kind of finished the race are all pretty good folks. In the end, it's like most of the guys that were jerks and they didn't make it to the end, which is to be expected, because it's not for the rookies or whatever to be able to keep cuts of everything and so on and so forth and actually make it to the end. So anyways, feedback on that.
Yeah, my thought is that FEMs make it a lot more easy logistically. It's with the amount of seeds, and sexing seeds adds a lot of extra work for novice growers, especially.
Yeah.
Which automatically kind of splits who is going to want to participate, I think.
I like FEMs personally. I don't have a problem with it at all.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that those seeds were the first FEMs I ever ran, and I thought it was awesome because I didn't have to plan so much. I knew exactly what I was going to get. I didn't have to pop twice as many seeds and hope to, and then pick my 6 best or whatever I had to do. I could just use up what I needed to use up and grow that many females,
Right.
Well, and it should be relevant that we're a plant count state here too. So if you want to do it in Michigan, that's very important to note. People will be limited. Our rec count is 12 plants. So if they're already growing some plants, like say 8 plants or something, they can't do a really large pheno hunt of 15 regular seeds or something.
Well, I think that seals the deal then. I mean, I was leaning towards that. I just you figured you guys would be the best. That's what we'll do. And next year, man, it's going to be real fun because we'll actually be putting something special like that. We're really okay, this is for the pheno hunt, and we got a lot of stuff in the fire right now. So we can certainly, we're going to definitely come up with something really creative for this next one. It's going to be fun.
Hey, don't be afraid of autoflowers. That would be really cool to get more cycles in.
I know. We'll probably do a separate autoflower thing, but you can't really do it with the keep the clone and pass out the winning clone thing. But we have a bunch of autoflower experiments going on right now. But I'm gonna run them outdoors this spring and do a big outdoor test with them before we put them out too much. So I'm probably expect our autos to be coming in late summer after we've tested them.
Thank you for coming on here, Adam, and discussing your plans with us and your stuff going forward, and then the lineage, of course, of that snow cane, sour snow and mimosa. That's quite a good cross. Everyone seems excited about growing it. I have a cut of it now, and I'm more excited with knowing.
Yeah, I'm excited about some of the new stuff coming up too, the double Durban, stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. I've been keeping an eye on you guys.
Right on.
I'm really into it. The glue sniffer that I have is it's so vigorous. The fan leaves are just massive. I had no idea when I started growing it that I was going to need to really wrangle that thing down. So I mean, it's cool. They're amazing.
I'm really happy the glue sniffer worked out so well for everyone indoors, and that's one of the strains we hadn't really actually grown very much indoors, but we had really proven it to be great outdoors. And I was a little concerned just that because we hadn't really done it on a mass scale, we had just done a few plants to kind of keep it going or whatnot and get some photos and basically to test it. But I'm glad it's worked out so good. We've got a lot of good feedback from it, and it's also man, outdoors the plants are massive. I mean, they up in the sun in Northern California, they can get 15 pounds and huge, 16 feet wide, and really insane.
That's
Well,
cool.
we'll see that in old man's garden next year then.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, it's not a super early finisher. That's the only thing. It's not a early like or a late September. It's definitely, at least here, it's a mid-October. So we start to risk the weather a little bit. So I
Right.
always throw that disclaimer in with that strain. So
Mm.
it gets big and it finishes fast at the end, but it definitely likes to make it to that like second week of October.
Right. Well, it slammed into flower. You know, when I
Yeah,
flipped the lights on those, I mean,
super
it was
fast.
immediate in
Yeah,
comparison to everything else I have going on. I feel like, you know, maybe that's why it's gonna finish quicker. Is
yeah.
that it just
Oh
slammed
yeah.
right into
It,
gear.
it just starts later. It start like it's the cycle, the sun cycle. It just starts. So maybe at a different latitude, it might actually finish like way earlier. But just with our latitude, it just starts budding a little later. So but yeah, I had advertised it as like 6 to 7 or 6 to 8 weeks, and some guy was like wrote me like bullshit, nothing finishes in 6 weeks, and I'm like, well, give it a try, man. And he wrote me like 2 months later and was like, dude, harvested 44 days, like or 42 days or something like that, like just over 7 weeks, and it was super finished, and yeah, so it truly can be a 6 week strain. I've seen it, uh, which is incredible. You know, you don't see those a lot, but.
Well, I'm excited. You know, I kept one of the males, so I'm trying to not kill it because it's not in like one of my usual grow spaces. I'm trying to
Gotcha.
harvest a little bit of pollen, you know, so I can make some, you know, it's an amazing looking male and it smells great. So structurally it's awesome. So I thought try to get
Yeah,
those back together and do some
sweet.
experimentation and stuff. It's fun.
Cool.
So I appreciate it, man. And they're amazing, amazing plants.
Right on. Glad to hear it. Yeah, thanks for everything, guys. Yeah, it's been fun. I can't wait to get back to Michigan. So it's cold out there right now, so we're kind of skipping Michigan for a bit, but we still got you guys on our mind. So
Just gotta get this beard going. You'll be okay, man.
yeah, I know.
It snowed at most of their houses, but not at mine, so I'm good.
Oh, nice. Right on. We'll be doing probably like February for the Pheno Hunt kind of rally. So I'm just trying to gather data from everyone, and it seemed like the answer was pretty much February would be the day. So or the when everyone's ready to do it and turn in and everything.
So we got to bring in 2 clones and I think it was it a half or at least a half ounce up to an ounce of each.
Yeah, it's man. Yeah, we kind of didn't give a lot of straight guidance on that, but it's kind of like the more the merrier. And we really want to make it a group effort too. You know, we'll probably kind of like hone it down and maybe even just get some of the contestants to try it. You know, I feel like it's got down to such a like solid like group. You know, and I think we can make this pretty fun, and I imagine maybe we'll even have 3 winners. Who knows? You know, like we got the grow light from Science is kind of like the big thing. So obviously only one person can end up with that in the end. But other than that, it's like it's just been a cool collaboration. So fuck, I mean, if there's like 3 winning cuts, we'll get all 3 of them going, and we'll cross them together and keep this going. You know.
Oh, I like the sound of that.
Yeah, I really like what you guys did with this challenge. It was a great idea. Brought a lot of cool growers together, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's just a joy to participate. I think it's just an awesome process. It's cool to be in the process. You know what I mean? We're literally helping create the next strain. You know, our input is helping, you know, make a tweak to a product, you know, so that's an important thing. So I took it seriously, and, you know, I did the best I could do in my conditions.
Yeah, I can tell, man.
You're growing a strain that gets you high as fuck, so problem solved, right?
Yeah.
It's not like it's hard work, right?
Yeah, it was difficult just to get down to 2 selections. So
yeah, it's tough, man. That's the hardest part about pheno hunting is the last step, and that's, you know, one reason that our new kind of our new philosophy with breeding is we're really trying to get away from selfing and just full-blown inbreeding. Like you definitely see a degradation when you start selfing stuff too much. So our kind of our new strategy has been like keep the best 2, maybe the best tasting one with the biggest one, or I mean, it doesn't, you know, you kind of have to cover all the bases, but the strategy seems to really be working good because it still like keeps the hybrid vigor somewhat alive without just you know, the full blown like inbreeding on it. And so it makes it a little easier when we're pheno hunting, because we can at least take 2 instead of 1.
Yeah, that's the thing I was most immediately, and I think everybody will agree with me, like impressed with, is the vigor of the plant itself. It's like, it's pretty damn vigorous. It's hard to explain until you see it for yourself. Well, Abolished, I don't know if he's got his mic fixed yet, but he blew out the little root riots, because the clone stem was so thick. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Yep. That's Mimosa and Sour Snow, man. Both of those are just like really, really good production strains for, you know, getting just getting everything, the mothers, you know, the cloning. Both, yeah, Sour Snow is an excellent cloning plant too. So
Speaking of crosses, what was the cross on the glue sniffer?
the glue sniffer, it kind of dates back forever, but it really, we kept back crossing onto to Gorilla Glue. But we did it out, it was all done outdoors. So that was like a 5-year process that we did. We just kept basically taking the best outdoor pheno, and then recrossing it with Gorilla Glue for a couple of times, and then we just started using itself, because we ended up deciding, well, this is even better than the Gorilla Glue, so at least for outdoors, you know, and not talking shit about Gorilla Glue, but like we, you know, it just got to where we're like, we actually liked our version better. So then we just basically kept pheno hunting the seeds from the previous year in an outdoor garden. So it's kind of a strain of its own at this point. It's
Like the Jurassic leaves that it seems to sometimes throw over an old man's garden.
yeah. Yeah, that's a fun one for sure. Try. I'd like to see what it does outdoors in Michigan for sure. I know somebody had to have grown it there, but I haven't got feedback from anyone directly. So
Well, I have a confirmed clone take today, so you know,
nice, cool.
I'll probably throw a couple out there next year. You know.
Yeah, good. And we have like our kind of original breeder's cut too that we got that we kind of ended up landing with. That was the last back cross we did, and ironically, it was the number 4. So it's just the glue sniffer number 4. But yeah, that we do still have that original cut, which I'd be happy to get to somebody's hands at some point, just to compare it to some of the newer generations. But it's pretty stable. I mean, you're not getting a whole like huge variance on those, as far as I could tell.
Adam, we have a question in chat that I think is asking about what some crosses are. Maid of Honor and OG Red Carry King Band. Are those?
Oh, Ogreberry King Band. Yeah, okay. So that's good questions. So Maid of Honor is a new one. That's actually the Sour Snow crossed with Bad Girl. So that's like another 2 of our like really grower favorites as far as production, huge yields, super fast plants, super high potency. Both of those are always like 25% plus. So that's one, that's just a brand new, we have seeds, we haven't even grown them, so we're sprouting the seeds now, but they both come from a really stable line. So it's, I know it's going to be some good like F1 releases. And then Ogreberry King Band is a classic, huge yielding, super strawberry rich kush that my buddy developed with some males that we gave him. A guy named Casey O'Neill. He was actually just interviewed in 60 Minutes. If anybody saw a 60 Minutes episode like 2 weeks ago with an Emerald Triangle kind of deal. Anyways, he was the guy they interviewed, but he's a good friend of ours. And he basically made this strain with an ogre kush that he was always growing, and it was just his ultra giant outdoor yielding plant. I'm sorry, it was yeah, I think it was ogre kush. I forget now. And we gave him some strawberry headband that we had made but never actually grown. We just gave him the seeds, and then he crossed that with his ogre, so he called it the Ogreberry King Band. So it's insane though. It's actually one of my favorite smelling strains that we have. Wow.
You see me drop that on my keyboard? It's good.
Nice.
Looking forward to that. It sounds really, really nice. The more your stuff I'm having in my garden, the better I'm feeling, it seems like. So I'll be on the watch for sure.
Yeah, you should definitely get a hold of both of those. We're really excited to release the Ogreberry because that's a classic. Like that's a like real classic Emerald Triangle outdoor strain. Like in the sense of that all the genetics are kind of local to here, and so it's going to be unique. It's definitely going to be. It's not going to be kind of another Tom, Dick, and Harry strain. Like you're going to be like, whoa, I've never seen any smell or seen anything like this kind of thing. So. And that's like, even when I saw it, I was like, damn, that's a winner. The same guy made a strain called Great Success. And it's very similar, except for it's not as big a yield, but it's really, really rich strawberry, like just danky, rotten fruit smell. And it's an Afghan sour strawberry kind of lineage as well. But that one we're working on a new line now with that because the terps are just out of control with it. So I try to keep two kind of irons in the fire because we've always got like the ultra terp bomb Afghans that kind of come from these like Emerald Triangle lines, but a lot of them are good outdoor strains, but they're pretty slow vegetative strains, so they're not real good for like blowing up, like getting lots of like clones really fast and really big healthy mothers. And then we run the like more like production. Because we're a production facility, we're always like on the scout for really like high quality production strains, and that would be more of the sour snow crosses and stuff. So kind of always working two angles, I guess you could say. We're chasing terps and we're chasing, heavy yields and heavy yields with really good production. Because Ogreberry Kingban is an insane yielder, but it's a slower veg. So
I think growers appreciate both those angles that you go for, though.
Yeah.
Half of us kind of go for the more flavorful stuff, and then other half of us go for production. All the same.
And that's pretty much us too. It's like we're kind of chasing.
It's like the old school, great taste, less filling. I think that they're both absolutely valid, And as far as Adam and 2020 goes, you have to make sure you go back and listen to our podcast with him. We do need to re-release that though as an actual video on here.
I lost you for a sec.
He was just following up on what you were saying because you had cut out while you were talking there.
Little ad lib telling people to go back and make sure that they check out the podcast that you did with us earlier in the year. A lot of good information. We spent a good deal of time talking about Michigan strains and yesteryear and what it was like back then.
That was really fun.
Yeah, well, it looks like, I don't know if you're still there, Adam. It looks like.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to thank you, at least again, for the contest. It's been a great time, and I'm sure it's going to be awesome get together when we get to do this thing. So that's going to be exciting too. So I just wanted to thank you for that.
Yeah, right on, guys. Yeah, thank you. And I am here. My internet seems slow, so I shut my video off. I don't know if that's going to help, but
that should help. Yeah, with your connection and your audio.
Yeah.
All right, guys, what's up? Banter.
Somebody say something smart.
Okay, I have an exciting experiment. I always like my little experiments. So now I'm trying this. It was shout out to Abolish here. It was his idea with the Frugal Grow, but trying this Coco Loco, and I'm doing an autoflower in it, and I'm growing purple microdot in my mother tent. This purple microdot blew up under a 400 watt Spectrum King, and it blew out probably a 2x4 easily. The bud doesn't look like super dense, so I don't know how good the yield is going to be, but there's a lot of buds on this thing, and so far I'm liking this frugal way of growing. I just used the Coco Loco. I grew an autoflower in it. I gave maybe three applications of insect frass on top of the bed. When I did any kind of pruning or remove leaves, I just threw them right on top of the cocoa. I did use a mulch cover of straw, and it's in a sip container, so it's watered from the bottom. And I think that's all I've done to it. Oh, I put a couple worms in there, and that was it. And I got it all the way to harvest. No real other inputs. It's basically just been water. Oh, I did get a couple, probably 3 or 4 applications of recharge. I forgot about that. And that was it. So I'm excited. It's looking like it might go sometime this week. It'll be ready to cut down. So it'll be day 80, I think, today, or maybe yesterday was day 80 on it.
Abolish, we have a couple questions about soap nuts in the chat. Wondering how long you can use them, stuff like that. Oh, his mic still doesn't work.
I'll just say that I just ordered some soap nuts over the weekend, so I'll be having some soon to use. So I'm kind of looking forward to it, since it's been a topic of all of this kind of thing for quite a bit. So, and speaking of insect frass, I also just got some insect frass today. So, you know, I'm like slowly figuring this stuff out, because the truth of it, and I've been thinking about this, the real truth of it is that everybody grows however they want to grow. You know what I mean? Like, no one's really following anybody else's shit. That's what I'm realizing. Like, no one's going like, oh, he's growing this way, doing X, Y, Z exactly, so I'm going to do that exactly. Everyone's got their own thing. And so I'm totally just doing my own thing instead of reading and obsessing about all this shit, you know, and I'm just kind of doing it on my own. And it's working out way better. So much better.
Are you trying to say that you know more than me?
No, what he's trying to say is that frass works really, really well because of chitins. And basically what that does is it makes the plant
doesn't
feel like
even
it's
know that
under
word.
attack. Yes, he does. Come on.
Titan, are you kidding me? Come on.
Get
you
him.
know?
See, I'll sick
I
somebody
play
on
enough
you in the
video
chat for
games
once.
to know what Titan is. You know what I mean? It's funny. So yes, but I'm slowly getting my shit together in terms of the way I want to grow, you know, with bacterias and microbes and the right inputs. And I'm using way more dry amendments now and backed way off all the bottled organic, you know, like BioBiz even. I'm kind of even getting away from that stuff. I ordered 50 pounds of rice hulls. Might have overdone it there, but
Where'd you get them from?
On Amazon. 50 pounds, it was $65, right? You can get a cubic or a 1.5 cubic foot at Grow Green for, I don't know, I think it was 23 or 24. And I'm assuming is going to come on a small pallet or something. You know, it's just, rice hulls weigh almost nothing. It's going to be ridiculous, right? So I'm
Giant
sort of
Rice Krispie treat.
right. I'm like telling my wife, like a semi might drop some shit off in the yard. Don't worry about it. I don't
She'll
know.
be able to move it easily.
Don't worry, it's only 50 pounds.
You know, it'd be funny. But, you know, understanding that when it breaks down turns into silica, which would then get me off any bottled silica stuff. You know, like that type of thing. That's all the stuff I'm angling towards. I'm cooking soil and doing all that kind of stuff. It's all just a work in process.
And just for anybody out there listening, insect frass is code word in organics for cricket poop.
Well, it can also be like their bodies too, right? It's like their dead exoskeletons plus their, all that stuff.
It's just a really fine powder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's really expensive, but you don't really use much of it. And you can actually make a tea of it too. It's really easy.
And then you guys were talking about rice hulls. Abolish doesn't have his ones on screen, but if you go on his Instagram, his rice hull topped gardens look gorgeous. It's like very aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
I love it. That's one of the best things. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right, for the soap nuts, you can put one soap nut in there, and that'll cover up to the traditional like 1 gallon sprayer, and you can use that until it doesn't emulsify the water no more. It's not going to go bad on you.
No, it just gets
Which-
softer over time. That's the only thing you
Yeah.
do. But you could do it for like what, a month probably? I mean, easily. Mine haven't
Easily.
broken down.
Yeah, it just depends on how often you're foliating. I need to find my grow glasses. I wanted to show Adam the Grand Champagne while I was in here, but the stupid yellow light keeps ruining it. I got 3 pretty distinct phenos of it. And the one that I called the ugliest, like that I didn't want to keep, actually has like the craziest frost, which is this one over here. It doesn't look anything like the other 2 Grand Champagnes.
Oh wow.
This one right here that I'm showing, that's the one that I was banking on being the keeper. That blew out the root riot cube that Spartan was talking about earlier. I had to start using an arrow cloner again just because of the strain.
Oh wow. Damn. Yeah, that's the sour strawberry right there coming out for sure. A lot of those do look like sour strawberry. That Afghan look to it for sure.
Yeah, they're at I think day 38, somewhere in there, 39.
Oh wow.
Those are going to be chunky, man.
Yeah, some people crushed it with that outdoors too, man, this year. I had a couple guys coming back saying that they definitely wanted some seeds. In fact, they're already basically begging me to save some for them. We don't have a lot of seeds of that left, and we're not going to make more until we run it next year outdoors and re-pheno hunt it. So the seed supply of those is definitely going to run out this spring.
I can't wait to grow outdoors. Man, I'm excited for spring already. I was
There's those sexy hulls.
ooh, look at that.
Race holes. That looks so nice.
You know, I'm looking at
How
that
much
and I'm
is
thinking
that,
to
Abolish?
myself is that you could really get your mycelium growing underneath that. So if you were to take some basically your malted barley and put that down and make sure it's watered with your earthworm castings and all that good shit, you could really get that growing really quick under there. That's nice.
Is that like 30 pounds of rice hulls there?
It's just like a standard swell bag. I think it's like 2.5 cubic feet or whatever it was. It's like $20. And I filled up the 6 frugal beds that I have with it, no problem. And I still have some left over too. But that's that snow cane we're talking about. It's just shit, not everybody else in here.
Hell yeah.
But they all look good. Spartan Glue's finally starting to take off.
Nice.
Yeah, she looks really nice now. I can see where that new growth's taking off.
Who you got in bondage
AG4
over
with
there?
all her ugliness.
Yo,
What's going on?
where's that skunk at?
Skunk is in the other tent. 1 second.
He's got a bunch of mirrors right there. He didn't want you to see him.
There's the skunk, and the yellow light's ruining it for us. But she is
That
super,
bud looks
super
really good.
frosty.
Gonna be dense.
And she's got little hints of purple in there. You can see I got a little bit of that mag burn from too much LED on her.
And
But
what
it
day
still
is this
looks
one?
good. That's the same as everything else in here. Everything's about 38, maybe 40 now. I gotta double check.
When do you plan on pulling that skunk down? What day?
I'm hoping it's gonna be a 60, 65, but you know, we can't always get that lucky.
Right.
But that's where I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start scoping probably around 50, 55 to see where it's at. Because you never know, you might get lucky and get one of those 6, 7 weekers.
You know, one thing about this garden, I love that I can't see the floor anywhere. You have completely got this thing filled nicely, brother. Well done.
Thank you.
Your pots grow into each other laterally. Mine did that when I had fabric pots sitting next to each other. They all grew into each other.
No, the other rooms they do, but not this one. There's enough space in between them. This one, I still haven't been able to really set up a solid wicking system in because I can't find like a 5x5. I need a 5x5 tray for in here, and they really don't make those. You can get 4x4s. I'm not spending the ridiculous amount of money to get a custom one made. So I mean, the system works fine though from top watering, just like
Waterbed liner, bro.
yeah.
Yeah, pond liner. You can make a 2x4
I'm serious. Yeah.
frame with
Really?
pond liner.
That's cheap too.
I might have to start that project. Get you guys all in a group.
Especially if you're just doing a wicking style. So just get
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
Make a frame out of 2x4 and line it, staple pond.
yeah.
So,
It would be amazing if I could wick this, because once I get to this point here, it's fairly hard to water. Like Miss C can't get in here and really get the back plants. I'm a big guy. I gotta extend way out there to get it.
Dude, double pond liner that and get down with it.
Yeah. I mean,
Throw some
I'm down.
2x6s up like you're doing the framing around for like some concrete. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Put some boards up, staple on the other side, and take off. You could even
I'm
fill the
definitely
bottom with
down.
the hydrogen. You know what I mean? If you want to go that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely want the hydrogen in there. But at the scale, I would probably get like a bigger rock that's going to be a little cheaper. It'll be a lot of money to fill a 5x5 with complete hydrogen. Probably lava rock or something.
Yeah, we just go get the larger lava rock like I did. You don't have to bust it up or anything. You're still using it the exact same way. You're just looking for a place for stuff to hang out and also hold water.
And then
I
I
think
could
that's
do
like $6 a bag for the small ones. To do something like that, you might need like 12 bags.
be cool. Then I could finally set up my little rock zen water garden that I've wanted to do in my wicking bed forever.
Put a fucking fountain in that bitch, bro.
Yeah.
Some Himalayan salt crystals in there.
Oh yeah, we're hippie.
Wind harps. Yeah, we want a wind harp.
Wind harp. All right, you're all back on camera. Snap into shape.
Act right.
On a side
Tour's
note,
over.
Salt lamps are good gifts for people's wives.
Yeah, she's still talking about that.
Sequence.
Loves it, man.
You know,
She loves
baby.
it.
That's good stuff.
Thoughtful boy.
I've
Look at
been
that. Is he
wondering
good?
what
Look at
kind of
that
lamp
face.
this entire time.
What was that, Red?
Oh, nothing important. I've been wondering what kind of lamp that you got them this entire time. I've been thinking maybe
Oh, really?
like an 8-foot tall one that maybe like has like a nice arch to it and a nice.
I was thinking of a
globe on the
flamingo.
end. A
So
flamingo.
today, this is ironic because today I was thinking about meetup for round 2, right? So I got him a lamp the first time. Well, it was a Himalayan salt lamp. It's a gray one though, not a pink one, so it's kind of special, I guess. But I was thinking about this
So
today.
classy.
Meetup number 2, I got to get him another lamp, right? So I was thinking maybe I'll get him the thigh lamp from what the fuck movie is that from? You know which one?
Oh,
Yeah, from the
yeah.
Christmas one.
Christmas story.
So maybe I'll get him that
man.
thigh lamp.
I was hoping that you would say like the Batman lava lamp that they sell at Spencer's or something.
I was just gonna say, get him a lava lamp. The Batman lava lamp, Skilbo. That's great.
That'll be the next competition. Who brings the best lamp as a house gift?
It was before
Man,
Christmas
get ready
we
for
could
a
do
bunch of
the
lamps.
Christmas story, the leg lamp, man.
Well, I
I'm gonna
loved
bring you-
when people were showing up because I was like, hey, I got old man's wife a lamp. Everything is fine. And everyone was like, a lamp, what the fuck? Like you showed up with a vacuum cleaner or some shit. But she was really happy about it. We left it kind of mysterious for long enough. Red still didn't even know what it was.
I'm gonna show up with a genie lamp and take it
Right
over
on.
because then you're gonna get 3 wishes, old man.
That would be sweet. My first one would be a big old rosin press for Christmas.
More wishes,
Yeah.
dummy. You got to wish for more wishes.
That's your third wish.
That's my last wish, Right now,
See, I'm with you, bro. I feel like you're outfoxing the genie.
Well, they might hold out and say no, and then your hand is been dealt already.
Then I never really had 3 wishes. I had but 2.
Man, that's heavy.
He's not heavy. He's my brother.
So, Kate, I saw you brought the tote in there. Did you want to talk about it?
Sure. Yeah, and old man just mentioned wanting a rosin press for Christmas. So with my rosin press, we did this. I don't know how to hold this up. Actually, one second. Let me go get gloves so I can grab these. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Speaking of, a rosin press for Christmas, I think this is a prelude to having got together.
What's your Snapchat?
Hey,
No, I don't know.
your Venmo.
Anyway, we got together and pressed some rosin.
But seriously though, do you got a premium?
Yeah, what's your Snapchat? You got to leave the glasses on.
No.
Eagle's got one.
It goes on every social media. He said so.
I'm with Hermit. I will not conform.
Well, no, I
confirm.
don't do Facebook. I barely do anything. But, this, which is all I really want to do.
They're gonna give you props in that beard
Correct,
coming in, man. That's coming in really thick and burly, man. You
should
said,
see me,
fuck it,
man.
it's not even, it's December, bro. We're just gonna keep rocking that.
It's like
I usually do.
That could be-
It's pretty crazy, and I look like a ravaged madman, by January.
Hermit, man. Yeah, it's like a scarf.
It's because you're slowly converting into a regenerative hippie, man. It's just part of the process. Our beard just keeps growing longer the more organic we get.
True.
Spartan over there nodding sagely.
So it's.
Well,
It grows with can of cocoa.
I was just gonna say, oh man, you need to just stick with it because that could turn right into a Chuck Norris beard in like less than a month by the looks of it, man. Just stick with it, man, and you'd be just a lookalike.
I'm working on my 80s hair too, so I don't know. We'll see if I'm trying to. We'll see what happens.
Just quit doing the back? You're gonna quit cutting the back?
Dude, he's got those 1984 Terminators on, man. Don't fuck with him. T1.
Hey, I haven't bought a pair of sunglasses since I lost my like $280 pair of Oakleys, and I was like, fuck that, man. I'm never spending that money again. Now I didn't spend that money. I spent $20 on it from a guy who was going to rehab. But the truth of it is that it's I'll never pay for sunglasses. So $20 is the most I'm willing to pay.
Gas station glasses, baby. That's where it happens.
I only wear them here anyway.
Unless they're grow room glasses. Don't cheap out.
Ooh, I did cheap out. I bought the cheap ones, man. And
hey, anything is better than nothing.
It is, but it's like you can't really get up in there, man. Yeah.
I use those little $10 Apollo grow glasses. They work.
Yeah, the blue ones.
Yeah, man. I break grow glasses too often to buy a nice pair.
Got some swanky ones though now too.
They do. I would wear those things around. I mean, not just in my grow room if I had some Method 7s.
Okay.
Those are the ones that are like $80, I think.
They can get up to like 150 to 250.
I'm not gonna lie, man. Those Method 7s, like the HPS Plus ones, they have a blue tint. They can work pretty well as a filter for your iPhone, which isn't that bad if you, as long as you don't scratch your lens. But I wear mine. Well, I used to kind of wear them outside before I kind of got weird about wearing them outside and then wearing them in my grow room. But I used to wear them outside, and it's like a cooler white light on your eyes, and it's really great to like drive with, and it's really great to like just be outside with because you get to see like full spectrum, like almost like life in HD. It's really cool. You don't get like that. I mean, polarized glasses, you can see really well with them, but you still have like that sort of brown tinted view that you're kind of filter that you're looking through. I loved looking through that like blue tint, man. It's really cool.
Yeah, I agree with you. The Method 7 is what I use, and it's exactly how you describe it. It's like making it an HD. It just clears everything up. I love them. You can get them as little as $50, man. If you go to their website, they've got some HPS ones for $50. So that's still a little more expensive than what some people want to spend, but for as high quality as they are for $50, I'd recommend them.
Well, like
got one set of eyes, man.
Yeah, that most importantly, and like a good example is like when we're watching that video that Abolish is showing, without the white balance, you can really see like that there's like that yellow tinge in there. Well, that can be really tough to identify issues. If you're trying to identify like a magnesium or some kind of issue, maybe a CO2 burn versus like a magnesium deficiency or something, you might want to see like the actual color that's kind of going on with what burn is happening. And you can't really do that under that yellow HPS light. So having those glasses really like it gives your eyes a nice white balance filter, so you can really do troubleshooting, scout for pests, and all kinds of stuff. That's the primary reason.
One other thing you could do though is you can actually use your smartphone, and if you get a camera program on it, you can fuck with the white balance. You can use it as a way to take pictures of your plant or take video of your plant and adjust it in and dial it. And when you play it back, you'll be like, oh shit, okay, I can see what's going on with it. Or seem.
That's cool. I didn't know that there was that option in there. I'll have to look into
There's
that,
so many
aside
different
from
camera
filters
things,
or
dude.
something.
You just need one that's got a white balance control on it and fuck with it.
Zip drive.
I got gloves on.
Zip drive. Get out of here.
I need to do this before I sneeze on them. So not all the stuff turned out super nice. Like some of it was a little bit darker than you would like. I don't know, maybe whatever, but it's still like, I don't know. It tastes like everything tasted super good. We were smoking it as we went.
Man, we were so high.
I'm like a very firm believer that some strains will always be darker than other ones. But then a lot of them turned out like very nice looking.
I want to know how your apprentice did this time.
Which one?
Sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. They were both great.
I would love to have like the ability to smell that room when that's going. Be impressed, man.
Yeah, it's like a really nice smell.
Is it like that hemp field?
It's more like if you cold start a dab, that smell, like
The real low temp where you're getting all the terps.
Yeah,
they're really low volatiles.
Yeah,
That's some damn good rosin, guys.
See it better. It's really nice.
Pretty. How much is that in amount that you started with to get that?
Oh shit, I don't remember. I can go find the little sheet that we recorded everything on.
I know what our final weight was roughly. It was like 45 grams.
Yeah, and what do you think the return would be like? You said 75% on some of those?
Between 50 and 80%. I talked to some people. Depends on the strain and all of that stuff. So that held up with our numbers. We had some that were lower towards 50 and then some that were higher towards 80. So we were right in line with that.
There was a 90U bag that I pulled from my lowers, actually from my outdoor grow this year. That was a cured resin that pressed beautifully. And that one I think had the highest return, although I'm not exactly sure what the number was, but I think that was our highest return. But it was golden, beautiful.
We pressed just over 15 and a half grams to just under 11 and a half, I believe. It was like 75%.
Old man, I want you to talk about that. So this is an interesting one. You've seen this all the way through, from basically starting it indoors, taking it outdoor, running it all through the whole season, worrying about all the pests and everything. You bring this down, you hang it up, you dry it, throw it in the freeze dryer, throw it in the press, and now you have this in your hand, this finished product. That's got to be a really cool feeling, man.
It's amazing, really. I invested a lot in my grow so I could make hash, right? And I also obviously invested in a freeze dryer and all the washers and the bags and all that stuff and the whole setup, right? So I kind of spent all my money there and didn't have money for a press. And so that's kind of the thing I've been lacking in the completion of my craft, right? So it was really, really cool to go over there and, you know, hang out with some folks too that know a little bit more about it than I do. You know, I've pressed only on like a really small, like can of clamp kind of thing, nothing big, but to do it at scale and get, you know, the waterfall and the whole thing, I mean, it was pretty sweet.
So
Pretty
what
cool
you
to
learned in the
watch.
final process that now that you are in the process of being able to buy a press, what did you learn yesterday? Like, you know what? I hadn't considered that. Maybe I need to think about it.
I need a big ass press, you know, and I need some big plates, you know. I
And
kept
big
thinking,
muscles.
right? I mean, I kept thinking like I could probably get one of these real, you know, kind of real small ones and get by, but the truth of it is Sequence did it, you know. It was like we were putting 3-5 tons on there, and then he cranked it up to like 8. And seriously, it got more out of that, you know. It really did. And I don't know. There's more to learn, and you know, just having a big, solid press sounds great instead of you know, one of the more automated small ones or something, you know. So I've looked a lot at the pure pressure. That's funny. Their name is not Pure Pressure. It's
I
Pure.
know, yeah, but that's the thing. It sounds like it.
Yeah. Well, they peer pressured me into buying a bunch of stuff from them, but not a press. So, you know, I've done a little bit of research, but it was cool to work on a big press with, you know, bigger amounts of hash than I've ever pressed at any time. And the rosin turned out great. I'm super happy. So.
Like you said, it's kind of like a mini event. Anytime we get more than a couple of us together, it's the same way. You know, we always got to smoke down and chat and listen to bad music.
So what'd you
We
learn?
had to try every bit too. You know, after we pressed it, we had to try all of it, and that was hard to do. You know, for me. But
The main thing that I learned from the process, Scobo, is that I'm stronger than Old Man and Kate. And that was really cool.
you weigh more, man. Come on. You know?
That could
Stop
be it.
it.
That could be it.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
were you
it's
really concerned
not-
that you weren't stronger than me, dude?
Now,
We got to arm wrestle.
now are we really trying to fat shame Sequence, or is that what we're really trying to do?
That's what I'm saying, man.
I got love handles. Bring it on.
I'm excited to learn now how to make different consistencies of shit because, like, doing BHO, I know how to make like saucy or shit and, you know, crumbly stuff and diamonds. And I know in theory how to do those things with rosin, but in practice, I don't. So now it's cool for me to be able to like figure out how to do shit differently or better or whatever. So it was definitely cool to be able to have a bunch of stuff to play around with and, you know, to figure out how to pack bags and stuff. And it was a good time.
Yeah, it's really crazy when you wrap your head around the numbers and how much hash we pressed and how much rosin was there actually and all of that stuff. Pretty cool.
So how do we figure out consistency? How do we work this as a tech to make it go one way or the other? What's the deciding factor?
Temperature a lot of times.
Well, a lot of this too is like what you're starting with. Like, is it cured material? Is it whole plant fresh frozen? You know what I mean? Like,
School me.
those are the determining, you know. So whole plant fresh frozen is where you get the live rosin, which is always going to be nicer. Just like whole plant fresh frozen BHO makes live resin and is always going to be a little bit nicer quality. And then you can have cured rosin, which can come and live rosin can come in a couple different consistencies, like saucier things. Sometimes they'll have like chunky looking diamonds, which aren't the same as BHO diamonds, but that's kind of what it'll look like. Or like an apple saucy consistency. And that can be from, I think, the temperature that you press at, the material that you start with, or jar tech. I'm not positive on that though. That's my understanding of it. And then with cured, you can have more of like the crumblier textures, or the like more shattery textures.
I want that applesauce, buttery texture. That's the best stuff, I
Yeah.
think, when I'm
That was
dabbing.
She said applesauce. I was like, oh yeah, that's it.
That's
I just want to be an alchemist, you know, more than anything else. Like, I don't actually dab, you know. It's more why I've always been just a hash guy, because I don't do that stuff. Not
No,
because
but
I
you
don't
could get a
love
pen
it.
though.
Totally, and I should for sure. I'm just really old and cranky and set in my ways to just like kind of just smoke flower. You know?
You held your own on dabbing. We dabbed all those different strains that she held up in front of the camera. I was
True.
high as shit.
I was super high too.
At one point, Kate was like, have you been paying attention? Can you pack this thing and fold this bag up or whatever? And thankfully, we didn't have to do it because there's no fucking way.
They're like, you only did it once. I was like, I've done it 9 times.
It was
You're like,
rough.
oh.
So who won the dab off then? It sounds like Kate did.
But we didn't have a dab off at that moment. We were just clearing the tool every time, and that's
But also,
plenty.
that was Kate's first day of being super sick. So I was just like a zombie most of the night, probably. That's what I felt like anyway.
Zombie tech.
Zombie tech.
Well, I think the cool thing is you guys could get together, and so like, you know, Kate, who just got a new device, most people get the first press, and I'm super jealous, by the way, but most people who get the first press, you know, how much product are they going to lose by just inexperience? So to have someone to lean on, it's just awesome of you guys, you know, it's to have that knowledge or whatever, you're saving all kinds of product, and at the same time, you're jumping so far on the learning curve, you know, you're skipping God knows how much time and wasted product. So that's just awesome.
Truly, yeah. Like when I very first started rosin pressing several years ago, we only pressed flour. Like we bought some press for $500 or $600. Didn't really know a lot. We wanted, you know, like old man going from a can of clamp or something like that to something bigger. And holy hell, the growing pains that we had, you know, and nothing like that when we were pressing that hash, you know, with Kate and old man, because they were both paying attention and they knew how many we had pressed and all of that stuff.
I
Well,
got
I
a fun.
just say thank you again and always to Dogman Troop, because he has been insanely generous with knowledge with me about pressing stuff. So like a lot of it, a lot of the things that I like started with were based on advice that he's given me. So like it was cool to have somebody that's doing really well in this industry kind of give you some like secrets and pointers to start out with, you know. So I'm super grateful for that.
Pressing's just as much as an artistic thing as making hash, I believe. I mean, it's strain dependent, time and pressure. There's a lot of science to it. It's not just throwing something in there and squishing you out some rosin. There's really an art to it.
There is, and we didn't have any bag blowouts or catastrophic failures or anything like that. It was really cool.
Right. I was really pleasantly surprised, actually, because in the couple times I've pressed, even by myself with a really small press, you know, I have messed it up, you know, almost every time in some sense or another, you know.
Yeah, I've always kind of wondered like what's the learning curve now with all the new tech, because back the last time I tried it is back during the hair straightener days, and I thought I was clever and bought a tortilla maker, and I wasted probably an ounce of some really good cannabis trying to press on that. I was literally stepping on it and jumping on it trying to press. It wasn't working. So I mean, if I was to like get a press, how many grams, how many runs do you think it is before you actually get a decent pull out of that?
So you want to get a press that has like at least 10 tons, because like, I don't know, you do at least. And then I would say you probably don't want to put, like looking at the numbers from last night, I definitely think that there's got to be like a sweet spot with how full you pack the bags. And I don't know what that is yet, but it seems to be like the more the better. But sometimes like one of the hashes was like super fluffy. So it was like this really fucking full bag, but it was like 5 grams less than the bag that we had just pressed before that. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, but it was just the super fluffy hash, you know what I mean? So it's not always the more, but I think it is like the heavier, you know what I mean? But I would try to go like, I don't know, our 20 or our 15 gram ones, I think had the best returns.
Right. I think there's a ratio of, plate size to bag fullness and, all that kind of stuff. And it's a combination, I think, and it's probably different for every hash, every batch, every, how it is. It's like there's no pheno is the same. If I give someone a clone here and they grow it in their environment, it really becomes a different plant sort of over time, and so I think trichomes are the same way, in some senses. But curing, the cure of it, whether it's cured or fresh frozen, it's all sorts of different. I mean, whether you're really grading all your hashes by separating it, sieving it through all the different bags, or are you gathering it all in your 40U bag and doing a full spectrum press? I mean, there's lots of different variables. I usually have been separating all of mine out so I can really get the fine stuff and, the mid-grade and the food grade. There's not as much really good stuff as you'd like there to be, and that's why bubble is really expensive and kind of ridiculous to make sometimes. So
yeah, and to be honest, my plan is to do full spectrum, and to do like a pretty limited amount of things, because I think that there are ways of doing it that are better than others, you know what I mean, where you can get better yields or better products or things that hold up longer. But also somebody in chat said something about second presses, and when I did BHO, I never did second washes, and I don't like the idea of second presses for I don't really know what reason. I think that there's other shit that you can do with the bags, like rosin caps and topicals and stuff that I like having those things and doing that stuff with it. So I would prefer doing it with those. So I don't know a lot about second presses, and I probably won't ever learn a lot about those because I like other weed products,
Let me ask you guys this question. This is something I looked a little bit into it because I'm obviously interested in getting a press, but it's way down the list of things right now. But I found real interesting. Someone, I believe it was Soup the Gardener on one of the DGC's forums, do Grow Show, but he liked the circular press instead of the normal ones you see are the rectangles, but he liked the circular, and he packed the bags in like almost like looked like a stack of coins. It was a circular press, and his reasoning was that once it pressed, then any way the rosin wanted to move, it would fall off of the heat, so it immediately cools down because it could go any way, any direction. But if you have like a long press, there's some of that rosin kind of stays on the heat for a longer period before it can get off of that press. I thought it was a pretty cool thing that I haven't heard, and I don't see a lot of people using those circular presses. So I don't know if it's
typically that's for a flour technique versus hash. So in flour, you'll pre-press and stuff. So you put your flour inside of a press before you press to make like a puck out of it. And a lot of times that's a circular shape for all the reasons that you just said. But I've never seen anyone do that with hash.
That's interesting. I wonder why.
I've never seen a circular press, but I do like you fold so you put hash in a bag and then a bag around the bag, and then you put that in parchment paper and you fold it directionally so that it can only go one way. So there is obviously a small amount that squishes out or tries to go to the back, and gets trapped. But I think that you're not pressing for a super long amount of time, so you're not gonna like burn it or whatever, you know what I mean? It's maybe on there slightly longer than you'd want it to be, but you're not pressing for so long that it would do anything to it anyway. So I don't know. I think also having a big enough surface on your plates that you can press like a larger amount at a time makes you get a better yield.
I also think it depends on how good your bubble is, right? Like if there's a bunch of plant matter in there and you're pressing the shit out of it, it's way more likely to blow out than if it's, 60, 70%, trichomes that are going to just melt right through that bag and then really leave the bag much more empty than if there were more plant matter or contain, whatever. Doesn't matter. Trichome stalks, whatever.
That's my theory, is because the hash is a lot more full melt. It's just going to get, when we were pressing, the rosin really doesn't stay near the plates for very long. It definitely moves itself via gravity away from the plates pretty much immediately.
Yeah, it oozes out pretty quick. And this pressing was like a good experience too, because it was like I kept being like, oh my God, I wasn't prepared. But it's hard because I've only gone to somebody's spot that is all set up, that they've been doing it for fucking ever, you know what I mean? They just have all this shit right there. So it was hard for me to like remember every single thing that I would need. So like while we were going through it, it was like, oh, this would make it way easier. Oh, I should do it like this next time. Like I need another table down here. You know what I mean? Like being able to go through, like I needed a sifter and stuff. That was super helpful, and it was nice to have other people around to like be watching shit, you know what I mean? And like, hey, we put on music and we stopped fucking YouTube from playing the same goddamn song over and over again. So it was cool having you guys come out.
Well, it was nice we had stations, so we had, you guys were loading bags and pressing, and I was cleaning the sheets off and collecting everything, and it worked out really well.
Yeah, it's got me excited to make some more hash, right? So lots to do.
That freeze dryer is going to be working overtime.
I hope so. It needs to. I have lots of things to work overtime.
Old man, do you want to talk about your freeze dryer versus Kate's freeze dryer real quick?
I was just gonna say, it made me so happy when you said that my freeze dryer was nice, because I haven't really fucked with it yet because it scares me.
He was ranting about his freeze dryer.
Number one, mine is the stainless steel finish and hers is black. So hers is better automatically just by that, right? Mine is, so it's my main complaint with the Harvest Right freeze dryer scientific version, which is what I got because it has more shelves in it. There's less space up and down between them, but I get 7 shelves instead of 4, or I think it's 4 or 5 with the regular one, right? So that's why I did it, because I was going to do more liquids, more hash, right? And so I got it, and
you also have more control over certain aspects of it too, right?
You're supposed to, and I do, but they're all in like secret menus, like literally, I swear to you, they say push the secret button in the secret place twice, and then press the top left corner where there's no button there, and then it'll open up the secret, cave to all of the knowledge that you want to know that should just be displayed all the fucking time. You know what I mean? And it's just not, and I have to find it, and it's ridiculous. And why is it monitoring all this information and I have to go into secret places to find it? It's ridiculous. Anyway, so there's that.
That's why I wanted to bring that up, because I knew you would do that.
Let a brother vent, man.
I was like over on the other side of my basement looking for like a fucking bolt, and I hear him be like, "Oh my God," and I was like,
yeah, he made a noise you only make like at night with your significant other. He was looking at it. It was funny as hell.
Well, your even your vacuum pump, right, has a valve for to release the oil out of it. Mine, I have like a screw thing, and I gotta unscrew it, and it gets the oil all over my fingers, and then it dangles in the way, and it drips oil all over it. It's ridiculous. It's just a dumb design, right? But yours, you just have a valve. You can just turn it. I don't understand why I got mine not.
Yeah, I don't have the filter though, so I need to either figure out. I can probably just buy one from Harvest Right, but it'll probably take them like 8 months to ship it to me, or I can probably figure out how to make one. Hey. Because they're like janky as fuck, right? That's what everybody says, that it looks like it's like super homemade. So for real, everybody has said it looks like it looks like a joke. Like it looks like somebody made it in their garage and the Harvest Right accidentally sent it to you. But that's what the oil filter looks like. But you got to filter out the oil every time. because it's pulling out water. So you don't want that water to get into the oil and run through the engine on the vacuum pump because it'll burn it out right away. And they're super fucking expensive. And I don't know how to fix shit on the vacuum pump. So like, I'm going to take super good care of it.
Well, it's a 7 CFM pump too. They're pretty badass. I mean, they're pulling way down, you know, to, I don't know, mine goes under 100 millitorr, which is the measurement of suction. You know, it's really, really low, you know, it's a lot of suction. So
Good your mama joke in there somewhere.
I was
I was
waiting
just
for
gonna
it.
say.
I
was
know,
just
I
gonna
know.
say we
I'm
need
just
to
trying
ask
to
the
be
expert
scientific
se-
here.
Just gonna say we need to ask the expert sequence. How much suction is that, man? I know you're the expert in suction.
Like I said, there's a good your mama joke in there somewhere.
Like, how many golf
Villager
balls
mama.
per minute through the hose is that?
It's
Not
a lot.
enough.
At least 30. You know what I mean?
It's
So
the bros part of the Bros Show Live.
So somebody in chat just said anybody got 44K for a cryo cure. You can allegedly do the exact same thing in a cryo cure as you can in the scientific version of the harvest rate freeze dryer. So if you look up how to freeze dry flowers like roses, like you would do for like floral arrangements, that's supposed to be how you can freeze dry cannabis to be able to smoke it. And my little like, that would be like a cool novelty weed item would be like freeze drying big fucking like donkey dick tops of plants, because theoretically it would retain its size. That's what freeze drying does, right? And then being able to make like humongous moon rocks out of those, because then when you broke it up, it would actually be like a good ratio of like wax to keef to like weed. But everybody that I've ever talked to about it says that they believe that freeze dried weed would taste like shit. So who knows?
I've done it. So I've freeze dried some fresh cannabis, right? The issue is that it's still really green, you know what I mean? And also extremely dry. So you would need to rehydrate it really for it to be a pleasant smoking experience, I think, unless, you know, unless maybe it's
That's
mostly
where the moon rock comes in. You're just like fucking soaking it in wax, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Kate just gave somebody an idea. Like within the next few days, we're gonna see like a moon rock sword on IG. Somebody's gonna, you know, take
What do
a
you
couple
mean? That's gonna be on the
branches and
Michigan
freeze
rec
dry
market,
it.
bro. That's gonna be on the rec market for fucking $700 a gram.
Here's a tip too for like the freeze dryer thing, right? I've spoken to Harvest Right because I have such short shelves. They're literally, you know, maybe 2/3 of an inch tall. They're short. So I had thought about freeze drying some other things, not like dead animals or anything, although you can do that. That's part of taxidermy. But you know, I thought about getting a different shelf size, and you can order them. They're actually not that expensive. You know, like you can get a different shelving unit and they're plug in. You know, you can unplug yours and plug in a new one. Whatever shelf size you want, pretty much, for $300. So not super expensive, to be honest. And then you could freeze dry those donkey dick buds you're talking about. You know,
I would imagine it'd be like a pinata, that it would just be like nothing on the inside because it would just like shatter.
Be dust, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be dust. That's what I'm thinking too. Just shatter.
Well,
That's
you
exactly
can
what it
stop it before it gets completely dried out too, but then I mean, you know what I mean? Like you can stop it at certain moisture content levels. So you don't have to like fucking suck it dry. You know what I mean? Like you can stop it before then.
does yours do that automatically though, or?
What's that?
Everything I've seen about freeze drying says that it's great for storage, but it loses its terps quickly after you crack that open. So would you say it's better to freeze dry and store smaller amounts, maybe eighths and quarters, than it would be ounces, because of that factor?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. For anything that I package freeze dry, like if I'm trying to keep something for any period of time, I need to put a silica pack in it, right? So it wicks out any sort of oxygen that could be in there, because oxygen is the killer of tissues, basically, or dryness. So in order to keep stuff just super, super dry, I always throw a silica pack in, just in anything freeze dried to keep it super, so there's no oxygen in there. But outside of that, I don't know.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that like as soon as you take it out of the freeze dryer, it starts to rehydrate itself. You know what I mean? Because it gets far drier than the atmosphere around it. So depending on, what is around, shit can get kind of gross after coming out of the freeze dryer relatively quickly. So you do have to be careful about packaging anything, really. You know what I mean? Like you said, using like those little wicking pack things and sealing shit, and you know what I mean? I think that if you were gonna do freeze dried weed, it'd be in those little like nitrogen sealed cans and shit would be the way to do that, because then you're preserving it exactly as it is when it comes out of the freeze dryer, which is kind of the best way to have things out of the freeze dryer,
It's really hard to illustrate just how quickly this stuff like gains humidity when you pull it out of the freezer. But like old man will crack open a jar of fresh frozen, and it's like you have like a 30-second clock to pull some out and then get it back in the freezer. It starts like clumping up immediately.
Yep.
It's really hard to like wrap your head around it as like a viewer until you've actually seen it happen.
That's kind of my next question.
It'll only stay sand if it's cold, with the fresh frozen. When it's cured resin, or it's cured plants that you've made hash from and then freeze dried it, it'll stay sandy, into the maybe 70 degrees, maybe a little bit, but not much warmer than that for sure. 65 maybe even, before it'll start to clump up and get hard to work with. So I always keep it like frozen entirely from beginning to end, when I can, because I want it to stay sandy, because I usually just pepper it into joints, and it burns when it's like that. It burns like nothing. It doesn't burn like hash and get your shit all like super resinous, and it doesn't have all the plant matter in it that like your traditional hash tends to have in it. It's really clean. You might as well just be dumping tripe.
Smooth, yeah, man.
Well, we were talking about what you can do with it, because lots of people don't know what to do with traditional hash like that, or they like, they don't buy it to put in joints and stuff. So it is hard to like appreciate that always, because not a lot of people do. But I want to make temple balls at some point too, and then figure out how to smoke them with you, old man, because I feel like you would do a good job of that.
You're exactly right, Kate. That is the best way for long-term storage of traditional hash. Not only will it store longer, but it will get better in time. And to answer your question about how you smoke that temple ball, you take a household grater, like a cheese grater almost, but finer, and you just grind that temple ball, and it shreds it up very finely, almost like a tobacco fiber. And you can sprinkle that nicely into a joint. I usually put a little bit in my joint, a nice sprinkle of that, top it off with some weed, give that baby a spin, and that thing will burn forever. But absolutely, temple ball is 100% best way storage. I believe that, in my opinion, anyhow. So.
What I do is I load the end of my joints after I pack them. I use like the King Palms pack or stick that it came with. Back the end of the joint, and then I stick it inside of the hash jar, give it a little twist, load a little bit in there, and then fold the papers over and make sure I really don't touch the flame to that hash when I light off. But ooh, man, those first few hits, ooh, amazing.
I really want to get 7 temple balls together and see if I can summon Shenron and get me her wish.
Broke Kate up over that one.
You get 7 temple balls together, you'll summon me to your house. You can call me whatever you want.
Always quick with it, bro. Always.
Oh yeah, I see that grater that Eagle's sharing right now. I've got one just like that.
Yeah, that's what you use. That's what you grind that shit up with, and it works great. if you look down my Instagram page, you'll see some huge temple balls. I think my biggest one's 56 grams, and I smoked on that thing forever. The key to a good temple ball is making sure you've got a good dry to it before you start pressing it into that temple ball. I should actually make a video, but
I was
Okay,
gonna
no,
say you need
yeah.
to, man.
things that we need to do as an event together, like have a temple ball making day.
Class.
That'd be amazing.
Yep.
Let's all get together and shoot a video. We'll all have a bunch of hash, and we can all make temple balls, and we can all take shit home. It'd be awesome.
Hashing with a twist.
I got some
I'd
turkey
love that.
bags already.
I'd love that.
I'm ready
It's
for
like a
pressing.
paint and pour, only it's not.
But he's just thinking about it right now. Nobody's talking, just thinking.
I'm thinking this group makes me want to move south.
Yeah.
Come
I'm
back
just hoping
south,
my balls
Eagle.
measure up.
Yeah, I was just looking at some bags, like the full mesh bags, because the ones I use are mostly canvas. But old man, I'm gonna be bringing some hash your way probably after the holidays. I'm gonna try to get some new bags and start getting some washing going when we get a nice chunk of snow, and it's gonna be great. And then I'm gonna bring all that your way, and then we're gonna have a freeze drying party.
That'd be sweet. That would be sweet. And yeah, there's gonna be a lot of hashing going on.
Maybe I'll bring it by on the 18th, and we'll let that sucker run. Disturb our
I'll have it cooled up for
conversation.
you.
Hashy
I
holidays.
plan on bringing one of those hash blunts that I've talked to you guys about. See how you guys like smoking one of those.
I always like smoking with you, Eagle, because we go hard every time. It's a good time.
Hell yeah.
For
You had
sure.
me at hash and blunt.
It's not hash in a blunt. It is I actually take hash, a nice greasy hash, and then press that out in a bag into a paper, and then stick that into a freezer and store it until I'm ready to work with it. And that is the wrap of the blunt. I usually make it, about a 7x7, something like that, press it out into that. And when I'm got my weed all busted up and ready to go, I pull that thing out of the freezer and cut around it real quick and rip it open and roll up a joint or the blunt in that, and then let it just sit out for a day or two and cure up like that. And then when it's time to smoke it, I kind of take a little bit of foil and wrap it around and kind of French tip it in there a little bit so it's not so greasy.
Where did you learn to do this from, bro? This sounds crazy amazing.
We gotta start off with this thing.
Yeah, I want to smoke this like right now.
Like it's
Start
gotta be
off.
first because I really want to enjoy this. It's gotta be
Careful now,
first before anything
because some
else.
of us get there way earlier than others. Don't say first, because first
Yeah,
might lead you out.
that's true. First, once everybody's there.
Yeah,
First
fair.
upon assembly.
I'm not gonna lie. The credit for this contraption goes to a friend of mine, Covert Hash. Me and him were discussing, smoking some weed, and he kind of gave me the idea. I don't know if he's ever done it himself, but I went home. I had the hash. I had the hash, and I immediately went home and rolled one up and took it to a hash bash that, I don't know, Spartan, you may have smoked that joint with me that year at the hash bash in Ann Arbor. I've got some pictures on my page. It was an awesome joint for sure.
Yeah, I don't remember most of that day, so there's a high possibility.
Hash bash is funny that way. All right, guys, we're getting down to it. We're at about that time where we got to do final shout outs. We have 6 minutes. Spartan, you're first. What are your thoughts? And then where can everyone find you?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just so fucking high right now. So.
Oh, man, me too.
I'm just going to say shout out to 2020 that Adam, if you're still here, that was awesome talking to you. And I'm excited about whatever you got going in the future. It's going to be nice. I'm impressed with everything I've seen so far from you guys. And,
Right on. Yeah, I am here. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for all everybody, you guys. You know, it's been fun growing with you guys as well. So I look forward to the future.
You hung in there for the hash talk.
Yeah, I was putting my kids to sleep, so
perfect.
I ran off and did that for a bit and snuck back down. But in the meantime, I harvested my this plant I want to show you guys. It's a autoflower that I just harvested yesterday. And so I started this thing in October. It's pretty small, but I actually like literally planted the seed in October and just harvested it. So, and it's been out in the rain and in the fog for the last like 4 weeks. So it's pretty nice. It's it's really bad light here, but it's called a double white, and it's from Puerto Rico, and it's this kid in Puerto Rico literally like grew this in the jungle, and he's been growing it for quite a while, and it keeps up with their really humid climate and whatnot. So this is part of what we're going to be putting into our autoflowers project. So
That's nice, because I'm hoping to do autoflowers outdoor up here in Michigan next year. And this year growing, it was so wet and rainy at the end. It just,
yeah,
at the crop. So something like that would be pretty ideal up here.
This year, yeah, this year definitely pushed a lot of people towards autoflowers. I know, especially in the Midwest and out east. I mean, I hope that too many people don't end up, thinking that they're the holy grail or anything, because my experience with them is, for commercial gardening and stuff, I'm yet to jump on board for that reason. But for home growers and for, just to grow your own smoke in your backyard, on your porch or whatever, they're really good for that. So.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. Just get some, get some unique flavors and strains, and it's a real easy, doesn't really take much effort kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, hit us up for sure, man, because I'd love to get some seeds in some people's hands just to try them in different climates too, before we do any kind of releases. So let me know.
Sweet, man. Thanks.
I wanted to say before we go on from him that if you go back on the Michigan Bros Grow Show podcast number 15 is when we had our talk with Adam. So go back and check that out for sure.
Check Adam out at 2020 Mendocino on everywhere. Red Setter, you're up.
Everybody can find me on Instagram or Cannabis or now YouTube at Red Setter Farm. I want to shout out to all you guys on the panel and everybody in our chat and all of our groups. You guys have really kind of motivated me to get my thing into gear and drop my first video onto YouTube. It was kind of a project in the making. Just took a bunch of snapshots during the build out of my grow facility, and over the time span between 2015 and 2017, kind of right when I first got plants into the garden is kind of where the video ends at, and that's kind of where we're gonna kick off from and on the channel, and we'll see what kind of crazy stuff we can come up with. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Chat, you guys are great, and peace out, everybody. Thank you.
Good luck on your channel, Red.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
The first video is really cool. I'd advocate for people to check that out. Red's got a really big ass garden. Kate, you're up.
You can find me on Instagram at the Canny Kate, and I just want to thank everybody on the panel and all the people in chat for hanging out tonight, and see you next week.
Thank you, old man.
You can find me occasionally on Instagram or here every Sunday night, where I hang out with my friends and get super high before I go to work tomorrow morning and suffer through, man. But it's always great to be here. Adam, thanks for coming, man. It's super cool to check with, I'm growing your genetics. It's new for me it's just cool to be able to have such direct access to somebody whose seeds I'm actually growing. So it's really cool. And everybody on the panel, I love you guys. Thanks to everybody in chat. Have a good week.
All right, Abolish
Farms. You can find me on IG, YouTube, Cannabis and wherever you see Michigan Bro Girls Productions. I'd like to shout out the Girlskis, of course, my homies here on the panel. Love you guys. I also got to shout out my sponsors, Mantis Genetics, Easy Swap Pots, and Bad Buddy Nutrients. If you use code ABOLISH, 20% off.
Hell yeah. Eagle.
Man, I'm glad I didn't have to fucking follow up old man's rock star sign off. Shit. Thank you for you guys for putting up with my shitty internet. I am working on that shit. I'd like to thank everybody for watching, tuning in. Some of this shit I fade in and out and don't catch. I do rewatch the show in the comments in chat. Thank everybody, for tuning in and chatting along. You can find me on just about friggin' everything. Instagram, YouTube, Doobie, Massroots, Social Buzz, Cannabis, Twitter, Snapchat, and tons of old shit. For the old people, you can find me in the old, forums. But I suggest everybody do that shit. Claim your fucking name on everything. If you're gonna use that shit, claim it. Just get on there, make an account before somebody else claims your shit. That's the only reason I do that. Some of them accounts I don't use, but I highly suggest you at least claim your name.
That's a good point.
Thanks again. Thank everybody for tuning in. Thank you guys. I love you.
That's a rock star sign off right
Yeah,
there.
it wasn't too bad.
Drop your mic.
Skilbo, you're up.
I want to say thanks to Adam, and I want to say thanks to the rest of the panel tonight. As always a cool conversation. I never know where it's going to go, but I always know where we're going to end up is right here. Every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you check out the podcast and like, share, and subscribe for this, man. We're trying to work our way up in our subscriber count, so check out the page. Love everybody. See you next week.
Thank you, everyone.